Welcome to Run Jump Stomp, a podcast about games because we needed another. You can find the show notes for this episode as well as other content at runjumpstomp.com. This is episode 13 for the week of May 12th, 2015. I'm Bill, your host, and this week we'll be talking about Splatoon's live fire beta test, Sega pulling the plug on mobile titles, Nintendo is going to take their time getting into mobile, maybe they won't rush as quick as Sega did, in addition to other Nintendo announcements. Those stories and more on this episode of Run, Jump, Stomp. First story of the week is about Mirror's Edge 2. Back in 2009, Mirror's Edge was released, which was a first-person running game, kind of like a parkour game, but you couldn't see your character. You were looking through your character's eyes. I think the character's name was Faith, and she lived in a futuristic-looking city. Everything was really stylized and looked fantastic, and you wouldn't think that doing a parkour game where you couldn't see the character would be interesting, but it was really well done. And EA really nailed it when they made that game. There were a couple problems with the game. Most notably was the shooting mechanic. Now, the shooting mechanic almost felt like it was shoehorned into the game to try and help boost sales. Most people said that the game would have been better off if the shooting part of the game wasn't there at all. There is hope, though. Even though the game was projected to sell about 3 million copies, it only sold 2.5 million. Back in 2013, EA announced that they were working on Mirror's Edge 2, and we really didn't hear much about it until E3 2014. They unveiled some footage of Mirror's Edge 2. I'm actually pretty surprised that they're continuing this series, but I'm happy about it. I just hope that they learn from the feedback that they received that they should leave the guns out of the game. My one concern is that the team that built the game, the first game, doesn't seem to be having anything to do with the sequel. So I'm really hoping that the new team can emulate that lightning in a bottle that happened with the first one. Unfortunately for me, I don't have an Xbox One or a PS4, and I avoid Origin on my PC, so I probably won't pick it up unless it comes to the Wii U. My guess is it probably won't. This week, one of the big stories is that Warcraft lost 3 million players in 3 months. That's it seems like a pretty big deal at first, but I'm not too worried for Blizzard. Say what you want about Warcraft, but for the last 10 or 11 years, it's been the 900-pound gorilla of the massively multiplayer online role-playing game world. It came out in 2004, and ever since, every single game that's come out has been compared to it. You can't play an MMO without people talking about Warcraft. People arguing about Warcraft. In the first quarter financial reports for this year, Activision said that they dropped from 10 million subscribers down to 7.1 million in just those in those 3 months. I'm not too worried about this. WoW always goes up and then goes back down. There's an expansion, people rush in, they play all of the content, then they stop playing, they stop subscribing, there's another expansion, everybody comes back. Well, not everybody, but some people come back. The reason that this is newsworthy is because this is the biggest drop in WoW's history as far as number of subscribers per month going down. So it's pretty quickly that they've dropped down. A lot of sites will say that this spells the end for Warcraft, but I like to keep in mind when they first came out in 2004, it broke all records with sales of 200,000. That's 1,000. Right now, they're still sitting at 7.1 million subscribers. That's 7.1 million people giving Blizzard, I think it's $16 a month. So I'm pretty sure that they're okay. I'm sure they want more, but I wouldn't expect them to drop the subscription model anytime soon. I wish they would, but I don't think they will. I've been playing MMOs fairly consistently since Ultima Online came out back in 1997. These days, though, I feel like a subscription comes at a price different than just the $15, $16 that disappears from my wallet each month, and that cost is time. I end up playing these games even if I don't want to. I tell myself, or something in my brain says, hey, idiot, you spent $15 on this game this month. Are you getting $15 worth of time out of it? And so I'll play the game even if I don't feel like it. Ever since Guild Wars 2 came out, I've kind of stayed away from subscription games, but every once in a while one pulls me back in. WildStar came out last year and pulled me in. It's a very fun game, but it was made for hardcore people, which I guess I was at one point. I guess I'm not anymore. So now that Warcraft is down 3 million people, a lot of people are saying that they're in big trouble, but I think that the 3 million people are somewhere in the break room sofa. In the time since this story broke, I'm sure that hundreds of people have unsubscribed from WoW, and hundreds of people have probably subscribed to WoW. So I'm not too worried about the folks at Blizzard going hungry. I'm sure that they know what they're doing. They know how to make a good game. They're going to appeal to the hearts and wallets of their players. I'm sure that they're going to be okay. My question is, what are they going to do about this 3 million drop? Are they going to put out an expansion sooner? I think that they were depending on the movie, which was scheduled to come out at the end of this year, to pick up their subscription numbers. But then Star Wars got announced for December, and everybody ran away from there as fast as they could. So now, Star Wars, a movie, is interfering with the video games of Blizzard, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments, or send me an email at runjumpstomp@gmail.com. During the last two console cycles, Nintendo was the most profitable console manufacturer. Sony and Microsoft would sell their systems at a loss so that they could make the money back on licensing games for them. Nintendo, for the last two console cycles, was selling their consoles at a profit. So they were always making money. They weren't losing money. Now, in the Wii U, I'm not sure if they were taking a loss on every Wii U sold, but in the last 4 years, Nintendo has not made any money. They've been actually having a loss. Last year, Nintendo reported a loss of 23 billion yen, which seems like a lot. I'm not sure how much that is in American dollars. I think it's... I think that's around $115 million. This year, they've turned it around, and they went from a 23 billion yen deficit to a 41 billion yen profit. All right, I actually did the math on that one. That's $226 million profit. So it seems like they're turning it around. Now, a couple of things. Why the sudden turnaround? The Wii U isn't going off shelves like crazy. But what's selling really well is the software to the people who already bought these systems. Mario Kart 8 has an absolutely insane 50% attach rate for the Wii U. That's unheard of for anything other than a pack-in. That means that every other person who bought a Wii U, also bought Mario Kart 8. That's crazy. The Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. Those also sold very, very well. Some people bought both. I bought both. I bought one for me. I bought one for my son. So they're making money on the stuff on the software that they're selling. If they could just get the consoles into more hands, they'd be doing a lot better. They also, in addition to them being profitable, they also announced that they're going to be partnering with Universal Studios to make Nintendo-themed rides at Universal Parks. This sounds really, really cool. Imagine if you could go through... Well, first off, what are they going to call it? They should call it Nintendo Land because they have a game called Nintendo Land. But imagine if you had a game where you had like a bow and arrow like Link, where you could pull it back and push a button to have it, quote unquote, shoot an arrow at various monsters from the Zelda universe. Or you could ride in carts that are like Mario carts. That would be really great as well. You could play Duck Hunt at these games, on these rides, and shoot the ducks as you were riding on a roller coaster or something. And there's a lot of really cool things that they could do. And it seems like Satoru Iwata meant it last year when he said that Nintendo is not just a game company anymore. A lot of people read into that and thought, whoa, are they going to start making TV shows and stuff? And there were even rumors that there was going to be a Zelda TV show that Iwata did a denial about. I still think there's one coming. As if that wasn't enough Nintendo news for today, they also announced that they're going to be making more DLC for Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers. I'm super happy about this. These are two of my favorite games. The DLC for Mario Kart 8 has been a really big bang for your buck. You're getting lots of content for not very much money. And I'm looking forward to more levels and characters to be in both games. Still more Nintendo news. Nintendo is going to be taking their time getting into the mobile market. Satoru Iwata said that they will be adding 5 games to mobile devices through March 2017. Now, we're about halfway through 2015, so in a year and a half, they plan on putting out 5 games for the mobile market, so maybe iOS and Android. At first, 5 games does not sound like a lot, but when you think about it, I'm glad that they're not pushing out a whole bunch of stuff, just shovelware, out at us. This is good news. Iwata said, "You may think that this is a small number, but we aim to make each title a hit, and that's because we want to thoroughly operate every one of them a significant amount of time after their release. So we're going to get lots of stuff afterwards. That's great. This is not a small number at all and should demonstrate our serious commitment to the smart device business." He later went on to say that these would all be quality games. Of course he would say that, but I believe him. Say what you want about Nintendo's decision, but their games always have an extremely high degree of polish that other developers just don't take the time for. Guild Wars 2 just announced their next elite specialization, the Dragon Hunter. I haven't been doing much Guild Wars 2 news. I know that It's very specific news, but I'm excited about it, so I want to talk about it. Guild Wars 2 is having an expansion, the Heart of Thorns expansion. It'll be a pay for, and you pay for the expansion, and there's no extra subscription or anything. And each character profession is going to get an elite specialization. The one for the Guardian is called the Dragon Hunter. It looks really, really cool. Basically, they're giving Guardians the abilities to have a long bow, as well as traps, which seems a little bit like the Ranger. And I was worried about that, but then they I watched a video, and you can see that at runjumpstomp.com. You can get a link there to the actual source video. In the video, each trap really felt like different than all of the others and different from the Ranger traps. So it seems really cool. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Virtues, which if you've played a Guardian, or if you haven't played a Guardian, they have 3 buttons in addition to their other abilities. F1, F2, and F3 by default, and those are called Virtues. Well, now, before, the way it worked is you would hit that and it would give out an area of effect ability to the area around you, but it was a point blank area of effect type of spell. Now you're going to be able to target these abilities, so you can do this stuff from afar. They said that the Dragon Hunter abilities allow you to lend a better helping hand around the battlefield, and they described it as a ranged support class, which sounds really cool, because Guild Wars 2 definitely lacks support. This week, Sega announced that they are going to be removing some of their games from mobile app stores from Google, iOS, and Samsung. Their reasoning is that they want to take the lower quality stuff off of the app stores and perhaps bring higher quality versions back in place. There's a quote that they said. They said, "At Sega, we are committed to making fun, high-quality mobile games, and it's with our fans' best playing experiences in mind that we announce the removal of a number of games from our back catalog. It is important for us to ensure that all of our fans, regardless of platform or operating system, have a great playing experience, and after evaluating our complete list of titles, we have determined that a number of them no longer meet our standards." There's more to the quote, and you can read that at the link in the show notes. My thoughts on this is, hey, at first I thought, this sounds great. They're going to take the crap off and put good stuff up. But now I feel like I'm being ripped off. See, now I bought Shining Force for my iPhone. I didn't think that they did a great job on it. Basically, they pasted a virtual buttons on there instead of actually giving you a touch interface to the world. And my guess is they're going to re-release it on the App Store. And I won't have access to the new one, because they're going to resell it. So now if I want to have the Shining Force that I should have gotten in the first place, one that has a control that fits the device that I'm playing on, I have to buy it again. That seems kind of shady, Sega. I don't think that they should do this. What they should do instead, if they really want to fix these games, rather than pull them off the stores, just update them. Fix the low quality stuff. Give it to the people that already sent money your way. People that haven't bought them would buy them because they've been updated and they're going to get new reviews. And right now, Sega could probably use the PR bonus. I think this is going to come back to hurt them in the end. All right, so Nintendo had a beta test I don't know if it's really a beta test. It felt more like a stress test for their servers of Splatoon. They did it a weird way where you had 3 1-hour opportunities to play. So, pardon me. So you download the demo, and then they had 3 times throughout the day where you could log in, play some multiplayer, and be done. I looked at the email that they had sent me. I showed it to my son. We got really excited. We said, "Hey, man, we can sit down and play Splatoon together." You can't play together because they didn't include the multiplayer or the local multiplayer, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. But we can play Splatoon and see what we think. Apparently, the Earth is round, and because it's round, we developed time zones that I did not pay attention to. Nintendo was very clear about the times. I wasn't paying attention. I told my son we'd be able to try out Splatoon at 8 p.m. I didn't notice that was Pacific time. So 8 p.m. came and went, and he went to bed sad and not quite so impressed with his dad for being able to tell time. Next time you could play was super early in the morning. We didn't want to interfere with his t-ball game, so we synchronized our watches, and we said, all right, at 3 p.m. tomorrow on Saturday, so this last Saturday, we can sit down and play Splatoon. So we set our watches, not really watches, we just set a timer on my phone. It went off at 3 p.m. We went into the living room, sat down, fired up Splatoon. Immediately, it turned right on. You could log in. It was exactly 3 p.m. on the dot. They did a great job on that. So he went through the quick tutorial. I didn't get a chance to play the tutorial, but it seemed like it was fine. It was really, really quick. Helped him get familiar with the controls and the objectives. After the tutorial, he joined his first battle. He started playing, and immediately after playing for a very, very short time, he's like, man, this is awesome. He said, this is so awesome. He yelled it. He's really excited, and he loves this game. His birthday's coming up, and he said, Dad, can we get Splatoon for my birthday? And I said, maybe. We'll think about it, because it's coming out before his birthday, so hint, probably. As far as how the game goes, there's no classes in the game. You get your abilities based on what weapons you pick. Now, in the demo, there were just, was it 3 or 4? There were 4 weapons. There was a sniper rifle. There was the paint roller. The paint roller is really cool. I think that's, that might be, I'm not sure which one's my favorite. But anyway, there's the paint roller, the sniper rifle, and then there's 2 guns that I could not tell the difference one. I think it was called the Splatter Gun and the Splatter Gun Junior, and I couldn't tell the difference between them. Then again, I only got to play like 3 or 4 matches, and the matches are really fast. The matches are over in 3 minutes, and I don't know if that's just a limitation of design of the beta, or if that's how it's always going to be, but I really liked the super short matches. I thought that was really great. The thing about overall, in the hour that I got to play, I came away thinking that the bright colors are really they bring a really fresh perspective to the usually drab shooter genre. The goal of the game is different than other shooters as well. Your job is to paint the scenery in your team's color, while the other team is trying to paint it in their team's color. Now, yes, you can shoot the other guys with your paint. That does help, because then they're not there to undo everything that you've done. And it makes the game have a really unique and frantic experience. I'm really looking forward to it. My question is, with only 10 million Wii U in the wild, is Nintendo going to sell enough copies of Splatoon to support what is at its heart an online multiplayer shooter? Because the single player doesn't, I didn't get to play any of the single player, but from what I've heard, it doesn't add, there isn't a real big campaign that you can play through. Yes, they do have a campaign mode, but I've heard that it's short. That's not my experience. I don't know. So what do you think? Do you think Nintendo's doing the right thing with Splatoon? There are problems with it. Problem number one is actually just there's one problem with it. The problem is that there's no voice chat. When playing, though, I don't know if voice chat would have been really beneficial. Yes, you can work with others to, I guess, pick out a target, but your job is to cover the ground in paint. It's not... I wonder how much strategy you can really develop for this. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think that there could be some really... Yes, voice chat would definitely help. I've decided. I just now decided. Because you could have a sniper shoot a really long path, and that would allow everybody to swim through the ink that sniper path left through. So that would give a long trail for everybody to go through to cover lots of ground fast. So, yes, Nintendo is making a mistake by not including voice chat in this game. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I feel old. I feel really old. Leroy Jenkins is 10. 10 years ago, yesterday, Leroy Jenkins' hilarious video was uploaded to the internet. I'm not going to get into it. All I want you to know is that if you've never seen the Leroy Jenkins thing, then you should go watch it. There's a link on the site. If you've seen the Leroy Jenkins thing, then watch it again because it's hilarious and it'll bring back some nostalgia. I remember very specifically when Leroy Jenkins came out, or at least when I was first exposed to it. There was a beta of a PvP feature in WoW, where I think it was the first battleground, but I'm not sure. And at the time, if you wanted to queue up for the battleground, you had to go to Ashenvale, which is a zone over on whatever continent's on the left-hand side. Kalimdor, I think it is. You had to go to Ashenvale, which is on Kalimdor. And you had to say, yes, I'll queue up. Now, it was in beta testing, so I downloaded the beta stuff, hopped into the game, took my hunter over there, and it turns out that everybody's name, because it was beta so people would make new characters, was Leroy or Jenkins or some crazy spelling of it. And I was like, Leroy Jenkins? What is this Leroy Jenkins thing? I kept getting guild invites for different guilds with variations on Leroy Jenkins as the name. And I was like, all right. So I alt-tabbed out, and I went to Google. I typed it in, what's Leroy Jenkins? And I got to see there's a bird flying over my house. Sorry about that. I got to see this video that is known as Leroy Jenkins. And it's all based on the delivery of this guy's screaming his own name. It is hilarious. It's loud, awesome, and perfectly delivered. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it immediately. What are you still doing here? Go. This week on the long play, I want to talk a little bit about Pixelmon. Pixelmon is a Minecraft mod that lets you play Pokemon in Minecraft. Which sounds like, well, okay, why wouldn't you just play Pokemon? Well, because there's the crafting part to it, which is really awesome. You see, in Pixelmon, you have to craft your own Pokeball. So you have to go down and you got to pick these berries called apricorns off a tree. And you have to cook those, and then you take them and you hammer them on an anvil in order to turn them into lids. And then you got to go down deep into the ground, dig up some iron or aluminum, and put that on an anvil and hammer that into a base, I guess it would be called. And you take you take a base and a lid, you put it together with a button, bam, you've got a Pokeball. So just the idea of that somebody was able to put Pokemon into Minecraft is fantastic and awesome, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you're interested in seeing the playthrough at all, it's on my YouTube channel, which you can check out at runjumpstomp.com. Wish listed this week. I know I've mentioned it before, but I'm not sure if I wish listed or not. Even if I have, it's definitely worth putting on there again. And that's the Star Trek 25th Anniversary Edition. I got an email from Good Old Games the other day saying that it was for sale. I immediately called my buddy and said, "You need to spend some money," which he did. I have not yet, because he is braver than I. The last point-and-click adventure game I played was Grim Fandango, which, by all accounts, everyone says it's an amazing game. I just didn't get pulled into it. I haven't given up yet, though. I'm going to definitely get back to it. Now, Star Trek 25th Anniversary, I've played through that game before. I played it at a friend's house when I was a kid. We would sit there and we would take turns at the controls and tell each other, okay, go over here, click that, say this. I remember almost nothing about the game, but I remember having fun. I feel compelled to buy it. It's very, very cheap. It's only $6. And you can get it on Steam as well as Good Old Games if you're Valve-averse. So I'm going to read the elevator pitch, the thing that they put on the back of the box when there was a box. Boldly go where no man has gone before. Beam aboard the Starship Enterprise, not Enterprise, for Interplay's classic adventure game, Star Trek 25th Anniversary. Set during the USS Enterprise's original 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds and seek out new life and new civilizations, each of your missions is styled as an episode of the imagined 4th season of the original television series. Discover and explore new planets, starships, and space stations. Control away teams including Kirk, Bones, Spock, and the occasional expendable redshirt security officer. Use tricorders, communicators, phasers, teleporters, and other gadgets to proceed through each mission. The game has the original cast for voices as well. How can I not buy this? I know, 2 weeks in a row, I've put decade-old games on the wish listed. What do you think I should add? Do you have anything new? Send an email to runjumpstomp@gmail.com, or you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at runjumpstomp. That's it for the show this week. The background music is a chiptune version of the Splatoon music, that's confusing, by Paradoxigent. You can find the link to the music in the show notes. As always, thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.